Simple is simplify processes, amplify results. Simple is.
But for example, other difference that we have is the difference between the kind of money that is used in different countries. It sometimes make restrictive the possibility to the students to go to study abroad. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I have some girls that has been accepted in universities, but
Yeah.
not with the financial support that they need. So they have
Mm.
to finally decide to stay here in Colombia. So
Oh,
I think the education is it's different. It has very types of schools, and I would like that maybe the education system will be more accessible for all kind of students, but unfortunately, it's not. But we are like a privileged school that our girls can't all of them decide to go to the university to experience that benefit to study abroad and to study in the university system here in Colombia also.
okay. Just a quick comment, or actually a question. You said that some girls, right, they applied for the universities and they are approved, but they cannot afford. That's what you
Exactly.
said.
For example, they get scholarships, but sometimes they are not enough for what the family can pay.
Okay.
Because if you see, for example, the difference between peso colombiano, that is the money that we use here, with the dollar, it's like four
Yeah.
times the difference. So it's hard for some of the families.
But they apply anyways, right? It's not like they become discouraged because of their financial situation. Even knowing that they might not be able to afford, they still apply,
Yes,
hoping that maybe they're going to get a scholarship or some
exactly. And
financing or something.
sometimes we have great scholarships, and sometimes we have families that can afford sometimes of universities. So I love that they go and study abroad and make that experience of a global experience, of an
Yeah.
international experience. For me is so important that they can have that opportunity, that we always look for all the chances and opportunities that we may found abroad.
Yeah, it's interesting that they don't give up, right? They might even do the tests or the exams just to build up self-esteem, right? Regardless of their financial situation, which is great. That's what appears
Yes,
like. Well, I
true.
guess that's great, Bibiana. Well, Samuel is here. Hi, Samuel. Nice having you here. Samuel is from the Education USA Bogota. And I would like to ask you to draw a comparison between the high school education system prevailing in Latin America with that in the United States.
In Colombia, or especially in big cities, there are schools that have sort of the same system of counseling for students, meaning that they have a person that specializes, like Viviana Gaffaro, who
Uh-huh.
specializes in how to help students. Um, but that's not common in most schools. In most schools, we have either the coordinator of the English program, English teachers, or the psychologist. So top schools actually have a counselor, like the one from Viviana Gaffaro. Other ones don't. So why am I talking about this, and why I decided to bring it up as a first point? Because it's
Mhm.
important to know the relationship that you need to establish with students. And then
Yeah.
sometimes when we talk about counselors, there is a really small group of schools that are going to be able to offer the service of counseling, but there are other schools, even if they're top schools, that do not have that counseling. Okay, so you have to talk to
It's
teachers
true.
or okay. Um, Colombia, we most schools have 11 years, or we don't have a 12-year of high school as in the United States of America. So that's another question, typical question when students come to my office. Like, here in Colombia, we have only 11 years of school. What happens with the last year? So students have that question. Is that going to be a problem whenever I apply to schools or to universities in the United States of America? That's another big difference. Um, Top schools also have APs, advanced placement courses. That's
Mhm.
not the case for all the schools. Here, you're going to
Not the
be
case for
dealing
all the top schools.
only for top schools, and not
Oh.
even, there are just a few schools who have it, but not all those
Mm-hmm.
schools in general. That's beginning to happen, and
Uh-huh.
but that's not the case for you to also know. Also, students in schools they have preparation for the SAT, ACT, but that's not always the case. So that's not part of the curriculum in most of the cases. So you have to be careful about that too. Um, Another difference is that here in Colombia, our system is very, very, very academic, meaning that um, it's a little bit hard to have or to establish a dialogue with students about what is it that you're doing outside the classroom. Um, what is it that you are actually working on besides academics? We are a very academic country, so that's why you
Even
find.
out, even when they are not at the school. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of students have, art courses, they have sports, they have they belong to foundations, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not always the case. So whenever I advise students on how to basically talk about themselves, they become really academic, and that's where it's a little bit of a gap over there. So I always have to tell them you need to start working on how to just make your profile as strong as possible in order
Mm.
for you to show a little bit more than academics.
So Charlie is a counselor at the Colegio Menor in Ecuador, in Quito. No, yeah, in Quito,
Guayaquil,
right?
Guayaquil, Guayaquil,
No,
not here.
Guayaquil, Guayaquil. Sorry, Guayaquil.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Okay,
for
so
being
I'm going
here,
to answer
Charlie.
the following question. What is the most prominent communication channel to reach parents and students from Latin America? WhatsApp, email, text messages, etc. So I would have to say that it will depend on each school policy, right? In our case, our school policy is not talking to parents, phones or WhatsApp, but mail them. So each time we want to, reach for a parent, we just mail them. Actually, I just got an email from two parents right now here on my phone. I didn't answer them yet because this is more important right now. So we tell them, we'll let them know that we want to talk with them. If there is a situation where parents don't reply, school will, talk with the parent, and the parent will come. And usually we sit down with them, firstly with the students and later without the students. It is important to know that they have to be on the same level, right? If the student wants to study something, the parent should know what the student wants. And this is how the communication lines flow here in our school.
Okay, that's great. So I'm gonna rush for the next question just so we don't get too long. That's not prolonged because these subjects they can get quite long. So Bibiana, I would like to ask you, what is the two items that international universities must include in their marketing collaterals to connect with students and parents from Latin America?
Okay. Well, I think two items. Well, I have like four that obviously the academics part, the academic system, what are the possibilities that they have with the programs, if they can do double major with a minor, that part. Also, what the university life, all that they
Uh,
will be. Okay, so I was telling you, there are like, for me, is four important points. Two of them that usually are not so extensive with the universities. Of course, academics, all kind of programs that they can do, all kind of, if they can do double major, minors, what type of university, if it's of liberal arts, if it's traditional of science, and also what the university life could be, what all the things that they can do around in the university life. But two main points that sometimes the university are not so clear about that is the support of that international student can have in the university. Because what I have seen is sometimes they say they have all the support, they have an office that is approaching them, and sometimes the support is not so real. I had one
Oh,
experience this last year with a student that needs an academic support because of a healthy situation, and she didn't receive it. So I think it's like to be very, very real. What is that
yeah,
real support that they will have when they get into the university?
I
And
see.
also the real cost, because for example you can have, okay, the tuition, housing and meal, but sometimes the health secure that they must have, or books or other items. So sometimes the family is making like counting on this type of money,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when they are arriving they say, okay, but you have to pay also this part, you have to pay also books, you have
The
to
little
pay.
letters, right? The little
Exactly.
letters.
All those
Yeah,
littles, if you join them up, sometimes
it's
is a lot of money.
a
So
lot
for
of money.
example, for me it's important the real cost.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. That's great, Bibiana. Tiela, I would like to ask you, what has been the preference trend for students with respect to their higher education decisions to study abroad?
It depends on the family. Latin America is very diverse. I think we spoke about that the other day with Viviana and yourself. Most parents here are interested in their kids to study medicine, law school, big names, big things. But I know that deep inside, some students are very they want to study art, they want to do something else, they want to explore maybe archaeology, maybe sociology, some careers that this country or maybe many countries in Latin America do not offer. So they're interested because school has given them this opportunity to study and explore different subjects, for instance. And we and us as college counselors, our job is to actually open this, this possibility map, right, and tell them uh, what if their interest is in art, where they can study, what institution to go, where to focus on more, what type of art are they interested in, for instance. And so when the parents come in, me as a counselor, I have to come up with all these ideas I've already set and tell them, listen, you have these places, you have this is much it cost. It's a private or public university, tuition, etc., etc. So the parents get an idea, a notion of, okay, so this is what we have, and this is the decision that my daughter or son made for us to study abroad. Parents here, we're talking about a very conservative country where the parents like their kids to stay in. But the kids, want to go out there and explore the world because they, afterwards we have all this internet and they see outside it's bigger world than they want living here. So their dream is just go ahead and explore the States, Canada, Europe, and go elsewhere just to maybe socialize with other people, other cultures. For the kids, for the students, it's very important to do that. The parents might be convinced when our work, like counselors, is like telling them that it will be okay. They are in university; they're going to be
Yeah.
safe. No worries. But yeah, their parents prefer that. Hey, we have here an art institution. Why don't the kids go
Stay
there?
under my wings.
Exactly. The kids just want to go out there and they want to explore the world, and it's so natural and so fantastic. And this is actually what I want from the kids, like to explore, to go out there.
So I think this is also another good thing to suggest is like counseling the parents. So,
Yeah.
because I am, I'm here in Brazil, I'm from Brazil, and I've already sent my 12 years old to go to Canada, you know? So, I mean, it's something like the Latin Americans, we really like keeping our kids under our wings until they are maybe almost 30. But I
Correct.
think this has been changing. And I think it's really interesting to give also the parents some information that it's going to be okay, right? Make them
Keep
feel
them safe.
comfortable
Keep
and
them safe. Assure them
secure,
that it's going to be okay.
safe.
Show them statistics. When parents see statistics of, oh wow, 30%
Um,
come from Brazil, 20% come from Uruguay, whatever. They feel safe.
yeah,
Their kids are going to be in a safe
nice.
environment, the same culture, same language. It's really good to show them the statistics.
Good point. Good point. Showing statistics, numbers, and yeah, that's great. Perfect. Thank you, Chela. So we are going now for our last question, which I actually mentioned that maybe the three of you can tip in each one. Just be attentive for the timing. But let's start with Samuel. Samuel, would you like to share with us some tips to engage with potential international students in Latin America?
Pretty much everything that you can do in terms of that counseling part, it's going to be really important. How to um, build up the contact with students in Colombia is going to be key if you keep giving them a lot of tips or a lot of webinars from schools, universities, and that are not so commercial. Meaning, like it's what they do. We know
Yeah.
we know the reps do that. I mean, that's their job, pretty much.
What I will recommend is to show the students the benefit beyond the academics. Is that that experience to being abroad, to be in contact with other culture, with other people, will make a very stronger profile in the professional, in their future careers. That only is not say that okay, you're going to study abroad, but you're going to live other experience that will make you a more sensitive, a more empathic, a more flexible thinking person that can give more chances in your future career.
Perfect. Thank you, Bibiana. Charlie?
And I'm going to add to it something else. I what I do usually when we send students abroad is we actually ask them to come when they come back to visit their families. We ask them to come to school. They are considered to be international students already, so they come to school and they talk to the students. These students that already study abroad, they come to school, they talk to the students that are about to graduate. They tell them how wonderful and how potentially good it is to study abroad. And this is what I do on my behalf. I think that's a very good way to connect with students that are hesitating to go abroad and they know what to do with their families and where they're going to find food and a supermarket. The student that has been living for a year, 8 months, come visiting and tell them their lifestyle, the life story. That I think is the most important. It generates, confidence among the other students. So they have the potential to say, okay, I'm ready to go. I have doubts, but right now it's clear. I'm not going to be afraid anymore because I can see
someone like my other, the other me.
I can try that. Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you so much for taking out time and joining in. And a very, very big thank you to all the panelists who are joining in with us from Latin America. And it's a pleasure to have you on board. And it was very, very enriching to hear from you and to understand the nitty-gritties, the intricacies, which are specific to the Latin American segment.
Simple Ed, simplify processes, amplify results. Simple Ed.